My 25 male girlfriend, 24 female, lied to me. Not once but twice, but I stayed. Hi everybody. I come looking for advice and maybe just some different perspective on my situation from others. A little backstory. Me and my girlfriend have been together for 3 years. We've had an amazing 3 years, and she's honestly the most down to earth girl I've ever met. Ready to discuss an argument before it happens. Always ready to hear my point of view or take in my opinion in a plethora of different situations, which is a huge change of pace from my last serious long-term relationship. It was very abusive for several years, and it ended with me being cheated on and strung along like everyone's heard before. In any case, that's where we are now. To give some context to the mental anguish I've come to share with everyone here. About 6 months into our relationship, my girlfriend, who was living with me by this point, has to go see her grandmother. She's having a very bad day and my girlfriend has been neglecting her time with her. I tell her that's totally understandable, and she suggested I could stay home while she went. Without any thought to it, I agreed. It's usually long and drawn out when we go over because she's bad at telling people she's ready to leave. Well, not any problems there. Until about 3 to 4 hours later, I text her asking if she knew of a time frame when she'd be heading home, or if there was any info on how her grandmother was doing. The response was definitely not what I expected in the least. She explained that her grandmother was having suicidal thoughts, and speaking of suicide, without another question I told her to take as much time as she needed, and to PLZ keep me updated. If there was anything I could do to let me know. Fast forward an unknown amount of hours. I'd say close to 4 more hours after that text exchange, she comes home. Can't really remember any conversations had that night, but she did get home closer to 10 PM. I do know there was no arguments and no questions. After all, why would I need to? I trusted her every word and had no reason to question any of it. Skip to a week or so later, and for some reason, no more than a gut feeling, wasn't clinging to her phone or withholding sex. I had a gut feeling something was just wrong, I guess. I don't know. One night that gut feeling took a hold of me. Now listen, I'm not proud to admit I went through her phone. However, after the last relationship I was in, being strung along while the love of your life casually fucks anyone she wants can really take a toll on a man's brain. But that is a whole other story for a whole other post. Back on track again. As I'm going through her phone, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. No messages/texts, no long calls, and no weird apps. Almost satisfied I was going to give up right there. Before I stopped myself, I went through her photos. I don't know what I was looking for, but I didn't have to scroll very far to see a picture. A picture that was recent of her with another man at a bar. Big smiles. I checked the exact time it was taken and immediately flipped my phone on and scrolled through FB Messenger to the date and time. I was distraught, face on fire, shaking uncontrollably, sliding through the convo praying I wouldn't find that the date and time on the pic matched that conversation. As you can expect from the title, however, I was not that lucky. She was lying straight through her fingers, I like to say. She was at the bar with someone. Lied to me about it for whatever reason, and I'm sure was never going to tell me about it. Now as I type this today 3 years later, no, it still hurts me coming to this realization. This is no exaggeration, mind you, but within 2 minutes of sending me the text that her grandmother wanted to kill herself, this picture was taken. Absolutely disturbed by what I've seen, I shook her awake and confronted her with the irrefutable evidence. Can anyone guess what she said? Well, if anyone guessed the truth, you probably haven't been in a situation like this. I find people that do something deceitful and don't come clean outright are never going to tell you of their lies and deceit. She proceeds to burst into tears, swearing nothing happened. An old friend was in town and they just wanted to meet up. She didn't want to tell me because she didn't want to make me mad, and the classic all my exes wouldn't let me do anything and would always fight with me when I wanted to do things funny, considering she said on many occasions, "You're literally nothing like the guys I've dated before. You're ready to talk about anything and figure out the problems." Did she say this out of ignorance, or did it truly come from her heart? Was she truly scared and just went out? Yeah, I forgave her. I told her she lost my trust, but I love her enough to at least let her try to prove to me she loved me. Those were a lot of the things I've thought about for the first year or two. The biggest thing that sits with me today, still, 3 years later. She falsely claimed her grandmother was contemplating suicide to proceed with her secret meetup because in hindsight, that's what it was. I know I love her because of how easy it is to be in a relationship with her. There's good communication, we can both appreciate being in each other's presence without having to chat all the time or text all the time. Just the general feeling of being comfortable with someone. And I've known from the start, if I accept what she's telling me and try to work on it, that I cannot look at it as trying to trust her again. I had to actively work at it to make it a reality. As mentioned in the title, yes, she lied to me again after that. However, I feel this thread is getting a little long. I have no proof that she went and physically cheated on me either time. The only truths I know are this: she lied to me without hesitation. Twice. Ever since the second time I caught her lying, she begged me for any chance. Now we are at a point where she doesn't really hang out with friends due to the fact we moved out of her home state and into a state with more of my family. Anytime she does anything at all, she feels the moral obligation to give me play-by-play updates of exactly what she's doing. Mind you, I did not ask for this or stipulate that this is something she needed to do from now on. She does this because she feels the need. Frankly, I hate when she does it because it reminds me of all of that shit, but I don't say anything as I don't want to hash up the past due to how happy we are. So Redditors, if you've made it this far, then I ask for your advice. Good or bad, it doesn't matter to me. I just need more heads on this. My head has racked this around for far too long, and I'm afraid I'm not thinking rationally about this. I've chalked it up to this. If I bring it up now, it won't help anything but to help put her down and make me more uncomfortable. Not only that, I already know anything she says about that night I won't believe. Maybe if this was the only time she blatantly lied to me, I'd be able to get over it. Sadly, this was just the first time, and the second time was not much better. I only say not much because lying about your grandmother wanting to kill herself, yeah, that's hard to beat. I know I've posted this in a different subreddit, but I need all the help I can get here. I just need to get this out. D-Day was yesterday. I've cried for 24 hours grieving a man that was never real. I'm disgusted, heartbroken, confused, and terrified for what is to come. We were together for almost 4 years. We bought a house last year and have 2 dogs together who we treat and love like children. There were some red flags, but I was gaslighted by him and myself, and ultimately ignored them, at least consciously. My experience is different from what I've read on here. There was no AP, no sex that I know of, but to me what he did was so much worse. He was a great partner, attentive, sensitive, successful with ambition, knew my love language, and used it frequently. The list goes on. But I always knew he was troubled sexually. An incident occurred regarding his fantasies while masturbation a year ago that wrecked me and almost us, but I agreed to continue trying with counseling and boundaries. I never recovered from it. I know that now. My body was telling me what my conscious mind did not know or refused to acknowledge. After the incident, I started to notice that sometimes, when he touched me sexually, I felt like I was being assaulted. I blamed this on low libido for a year. Last month, I had to stop 6 because I looked at him and didn't recognize him. Last week my body completely rejected him during 6. I had entire body internal tremors and a severe anxiety attack for the first time in my life. Consciously, I had no idea what was wrong, but my subconscious must have picked up on something. Yesterday I found a video online that I'm 90% sure is me giving him oral. I asked him to unlock his private folder so I could see if he had that video of me. He was shaking so hard I knew immediately we were over. He paid for private cam girls on 2 occasions that I know of, already a deal breaker. But what really killed me was this. He told a stranger at a hardware store that she had nice legs. Then he asked her for a photo of them. Then he asked if he could take a photo of him touching her legs. Legs are his fetish. He did this while I was in the store a few aisles over with our dog. I want to puke thinking of how that poor girl felt. For her sake I hope she was okay with it and not as grossed out as I'm thinking about it. I also hope she wasn't young. His little spank bank containing proof of these encounters was only a month old, so I'm sure there is a laundry list of others to add that I will never know. I feel like he is a predator that I shared my bed with for 4 years. I do not know this disgusting man. I'm scared of what he will become, quite honestly. So, yeah, I'm grieving very deeply, and I don't even know who I'm grieving. I still love that part of him I knew, but knowing this part is him too has utterly broken me. I've asked him to leave the house, but I want to see him so badly. The part 1 no. It feels like wishing I could see the ghost of a loved one a last time, but knowing that ghost is disturbingly different from the person you loved. I still want to see the ghost, and it makes me hate myself. If you made it this far, thanks. Any words are appreciated. I'm hurting more than I thought possible. Like and subscribe for more edit videos.